Food Wars, or Shokugeki no Soma, is an anime I never thought I'd like. I was pretty much forced to watch this show by a friend who swore by it, so I gave it a chance, and surprisingly, the first 2 seasons ended up being great. Imagine a cooking show, plus a shonen anime, plus a high school show, plus hentai.
You son of a bitch! I'm in!
This formula had no right to produce a show this good. The show not only teaches you about food and all these crazy cooking methods you would have never known about, but is also constantly making you laugh. Food Wars is honestly a comedy over any of the other things I mentioned. Unfortunately, the show isn't for everyone, based on one make-or-break aspect of the show: the foodgasms. What are foodgasms, you ask? Well, lucky for you, Wikipedia has plenty of information on the subject matter. A pleasurable and euphoric feeling of satisfaction that occurs during the consumption of particularly amazing and delicious foods. So imagine this, but animated. And I won't lie, this is borderline hentai, but the sheer ridiculousness of these scenes are hilarious. The amount of effort the creators put into them is really what allows their over-the-top nature to shine. And with that, I fell in love with the show. But no good thing lasts. I had watched seasons 1 and 2 a long time ago, and never kept up after that. So seeing that season 5 was released last season, I decided to rewatch seasons 1 and 2, and then catch up on the rest of the show. The first 2 seasons were just as good as I remembered them. And then it happened. The animation of season 3 was terrible in comparison. The character designs were no longer consistent or crisp. The camera wouldn't stop panning, ever. It's as if the camera movement was to compensate for the lack of quality somehow. But worst of all, the foodgasms were tremendously nerfed. Season 3 and onward, the foodgasm scenes were relegated to a lame background and maybe exploding clothes. For comparison, in Season 2, the food judges eat a dish so good that their foodgasm literally turns them into mascots for some amusement park where they screw around for a good 30 seconds. Now watch this foodgasm from Season 4.
とてつもなくボリューミーな弾力
なのに食べるとその口どけは舌の上に霧雨がそっと降るように柔らかく優しい
何よりこの奥深く染み渡るような甘さはなんだ
With this animation downgrade, all that's left is the comedy and food. Wait, what is this? I asked myself, how could this happen? And began my research. My first assumption was that there was a change in directors in between seasons, but this was an early dead end, as the same director was in charge of all seasons 1 through 5. So like any good researcher, I went to the most educated people on the subject matter to understand how such a catastrophe could happen: Reddit users. Many pointed out the same things that I discovered: inconsistent character designs, lack of animation, and never-ending camera movement. Luckily, Reddit user Makeshift God gave me a lead, explaining that the reason for the dip in quality of Food Wars was due to the studio behind the show, JC staff, putting all their efforts elsewhere, an anime called Children of Whales.
Whales!
Upon watching the first episode of Children of Whales, I soon discovered where the production value of Food Wars went. At least, there were consistent character designs and some pretty stellar background art. This is when I realized that JC staff seemed to produce tons of anime every season. It's all too apparent that JC staff cares more about quantity than quality. They'll take on any job if they can get it done, not if they can get it done right. JC staff is not all bad though. It's the type of studio that will introduce you to manga, since you'd literally rather read the pretty pictures than watch the bad animation, or lack thereof. I had finally come to my answer. The only reason Food Wars looks so bad in Season 3 is because JC staff sucks. After all this, if you still decide to watch Food Wars regardless, since it's now on Netflix, just make sure no one's around and that you have food on standby, because damn, this show will really make you hungry. If you watched this far, I can't thank you enough. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and do the bell thing. Make sure to also tell me what you want my next videos to be about. Until then, have a great day, and I'll see you later.